Hello everybody, Dizno here. Welcome back to another game in the CALLOUS Invitational 3. This is round 1, game 2 between Lycomedes and SoulWind. The score going into this game is 1-0 Lycomedes. He was using a special offense versus SoulWind with Ludicolo, and he got a very important crit there at the end. He didn't have to play for that. Now he could have gone to Lax and kind of baited the boom there as well, but that's interesting. I think that that's going to be a pretty definitive moment in this set. We'll see if SoulWind can take it back, but he's certainly 1-0 down in a game that he probably thought he would have won. Although I'm fairly partial to Lycomedes, I'm certainly rooting for him in this one. He's probably one of my first friends on this side, so I'll do my best to keep as impartial and as objective about this as possible. Alright, so we're going to start and put it in slow here just so we can keep up. So it's a Vaporeon Milo face-off here. That's interesting. Lyco goes to Scarm on the Toxic. Interesting, SoulWind didn't scout for the sub there. He goes to Magneton now, trying to trap the Scarm, and Lyco does predict that. It goes out to Blissey. Guys just kind of feeling each other out, trying to get an idea of what the other person's team is. SoulWind looking to be running a pretty hard stall. His team looks to be quite a hard stall-ish team with Milo lead. When your opponent's running Milo lead, it generally means that they just don't have anything else to lead with, and judging by his team, it kind of looks like that. Lyco's running Vaporeon, Scarm, Bliss. That's an interesting core. We'll see what the rest of his team is. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the rest of his team is. SoulWind goes to T-Tar here, establishes Sand. Lyco's going to stay in on the full power turn here. We're going to see what set this T-Tar is. Is it physical? Is he going to be able to throw off a Focus Punch or a Slide here? He is throwing off a Focus Punch, and Lyco goes out to Vaporeon again. And that's taking how much? That's taking 62%. Okay. So is that CB? I think it is. I think that's CB damage, presumably because Vaporeon's max bold usually. Lyco's just going to go Hard Wish here. He should definitely have either Protect or Substitute, presumably Protect, given Vaporeon's speed stat. He just hard Toxics on the Blissey here, okay? So does he have Aromatherapy somewhere? Either way, he's going to be able to get back to the 88% now. Okay, that T-Wave actually might work in his favor, because now this Vaporeon walls Milo for years. Literally all of Milo's attacks presumably will do no damage unless it has Ice Beam or something. Lyco's going to go out to Scarm here, and SoulWind just goes straight out to Mag. Ooh, oh, and Lyco makes the doggy double. Wow, that's hugely ballsy. If SoulWind had just thrown off a Surf there, that was doggy down for Lyco. That's wild, because SoulWind didn't have to go Magneton there. I presume he has a Claydol on the back, looking at his team, and if he has a Claydol on the back, he did not have to go for the Magneton there. He could have just surfed. That's wild. Lyco made a hugely ballsy play. I guess when you feel it, you feel it, and that could turn out to be really relevant now, because Scarm is just going to go off if this Doug does kill, unless it's another Adamant one, and then we're running up against like some sort of Salic Berry Magneton nonsense. SoulWind does get the double Protect here, so he's just trying to stall out those EQs a bit, that may be a bit more relevant later on in the game. He is going to get the triple Protect here, as Lyco does just fire off another Earthquake. Now we haven't seen if this Dougie is Adamant or if it's Jolly, but looking at that team, I would say it's probably Jolly. And he does get the EQ kill here on Magneton. That's huge. Scarm no longer can be trapped. We will see if there's a Claydol on the opposing side. And if there is, Scarm isn't completely in clear weather yet, but it's certainly able to establish its longevity and kind of use Vaporeon's wishes to kind of keep where it's at. It's taking 30 from that Surf. That's quite a lot. Milo does do a lot with Surfs to Scarm. That is standard damage though. Are you going to let it take more than 2? Lyco's just going to fire off 2 spikes here. I think, yeah, he's not afraid to let it take more than 2 here. If he does indeed have a Claydol, if SoulWind does have a Claydol, then you're not really benefiting from letting Scarm get low like that, but I guess SoulWind's team is a bit kind of, it's not the biggest hitting team ever, so you know that you can kind of get back your lefties gradually, so that's why Lyco's not afraid to get a couple of layers of spikes down. This Milo does have Toxic and Surf. I bet it's just the standard Milo set. Surf, Toxic, Refresh, Recover. And if it is that set, then this Vaporeon is just going to be it's going to be an absolute nuisance. Does come in on the Milo's recover here. Is he just going to wish past the Scarm, presumably? I think that's probably what I do at this stage. Yeah, this Milotic is absolutely walled for days versus Porygon, and so is Blissey, so the Porygon is kind of Lyco's path to success right now. Milo just going to keep refreshing here. So when trying to play the PP war this early in the game, but with the paralysis from Lycomedes Vaporeon, it might actually work heavily in his favor. As I said earlier, that Blissey T-Wave in Porygon might actually be huge. I think SoulWind might have made a mistake there, because if Lyco doesn't have aromatherapy on his Blissey, then that is definitely going to be working very, very much in Lycomedes' favor here, because otherwise Milotic generally would PP stall out the Vaporeon. We're going to see a lot of full power turns here. Wow, we're 27 turns in now, and the game's definitely swinging quite heavily in Lycomedes' favor. We're going to see finally a Vaporeon getting his attack out here on Milotic. Toxic. Presumably SoulWind will just refresh that off immediately. And he does. And Vaporeon just goes for the wish here, okay. So is he going to go Scarm now and get its health back? He could alternatively stay in and just take a Surf here, but he is indeed going to go Scarm. If that crit, that Skarmory was down, but he does get his health back, and he's now at 77%. So that's pretty important. He's going to go back to Vaporeon here on the Surf and Water Absorb. We'll put him back to 100. This one's probably pretty frustrating for SoulWind right now. This Milotic is kind of, as I said earlier, it's just walled for days by Vaporeon, and you could even make doubles to Blissey and back. Just keep wearing it down even further. Is he going to go back to Scarm now with that? No, he's not. He's going to stay out and eat a Surf here. Yeah, you can, like, how many wishes does he have though? That's the thing. He has 13 wishes, so I think SoulWind's game plan here is to stall Vaporeon out of wishes. That might be the best play here. SoulWind just going to refresh that off again, and Lyco does throw off another wish here, so will he go Scarm this time? He does on the Surf, and that should bring Skarmory back to full health now. Yeah, 99 plus the 6 tops him up to 100 there. Yeah, so this is looking pretty rough for SoulWind. Does he have Claydol? If he does, he's going to want to reveal it at some point here, because if he has to switch out at any point, it's going to be an absolute pain. 3 layers of spikes, he's going to get run out of soft boils and recovers, and yeah. Okay, so Lyco soft boils here on the Claydol. We do see the Claydol. When it's got Magneton support, it might not even have refresh, and if that's, oh wow, he rapid spins into a Dusclops. Lycomedes is running an anti-stall team, and he's running a Dusclops. That hasn't been seen for a while, so yeah, he's done his prep here, presumably. He is just going to Wisp on the Claydol here. It does hit, and if that Claydol doesn't have refresh, it's in an absolute nightmare position now, because Lycomedes can just keep spiking all day long. Psychic doing 17, that's a Spit F version of Claydol. I like her revealed Shadow Ball, it's doing 42. Oh wow, yeah, that's another one of those, and Claydol's down. So we're gonna make the double to Blissey maybe. He just Psychics here, and he's happy to give up the Claydol here. He's not even gonna be able to get the spin off, and Lyco does just take down the Claydol. Wow, that's crazy. It's a good anti-stall tech. SoulWind reveals the last is Dougie, so he's running double Trapper plus Claydol. And that does take out Dusclops, so yeah, Dusclops obviously doesn't have Levitate like the Duskulls do, but if it did, I think it would just be one of the better spin blockers in the tier. Lyco's going to establish the last layer of spikes. Maybe no, he goes for a Toxic. Okay, I feel like just getting up that last layer of spikes is definitely the best play here. He eats a Surf now for his troubles, and does finally get off that Toxic. Okay, so where are we going to see the last layer of spikes now? So one refreshes on the last layer of spikes. Okay, so now SoulWind can't really play a PP stall war, because every time he switches out, he's taking 3 layers. So he is just forced into going for constant attacks. And if that's the case, Lyco is actually going to win this one. SoulWind recovers. So there's a near 100% chance for Lycomedes to win now. There's probably a 100% path to victory, I would say. If you just play every... Like, what he needs to do is to stall Milotic in such a way that it's forced to give up all of its PP, and that will obviously switch it out. It'll switch out before that happens, of course. And then you're taking 3 layers every time you do that. So you've got to spam recover or soft boiled or whatever it might be. And that's what's going to really eat at SoulWind, because if he has to keep soft boiling and recovering, that's what's really going to tear him down. Lyco goes Claydol here. He reveals his last days Claydol. This looks like an anti-stall team for sure. And that's a CB as hell tar. Wow. It's doing 42%. Lyco's going SoulWind's going to go back to Milo on the Claydol here. It's taking 23. This Claydol probably isn't boom. Yeah, he's just going to go Vaporeon here. All he really has to do, all Lyco has to do, I think, is just stall out the Milotic and force it to keep switching. And the beauty here of having Dugtrio on Lyco's team is that if, say, Tar does take something out, it's going to be Claydol, because we know that Lyco doesn't really need his Claydol, so he can just keep going to it whenever Tar comes out. And if Tar does take it down, Lyco's obviously got the Dug Revenge here, and Dug will kill Tar from 100, but it's already taken the spikes damage, so it's a definite kill. And at that stage, well, it's just kind of a pain really for SoulWind, because he will have no ways of breaking Lyco's team. I think that the path to success here for Lycomedes is pretty much 100% right now. With Vaporeon being paralyzed, you're not taking anything from Blissey's Ice Beams as well, so you're not getting frozen from Blissey's Ice Beams, and his own Blissey's got natural cure, so freezes aren't really a thing here either. Lyco gonna wish here, so is he gonna go out to Scar maybe on the next turn? He is. Does SoulWind surf in prediction? He does, doing 32, but that's still gonna bring Lycomedes back to 100% here. So are we going to see another Whirlwind here? No, we're going to see Vaporeon. So Lyco's using the PP stall tricks here. Let's see what PP Milotic is. How many power points does it have left? 10 Toxics, 11 Surfs, 27 Recovers, and 21 Refresh. So still a lot because of the nature of Milo. It just has so much PP with all those moves because it's such a staller. None of its moves really do attack damage. So one's going to go to the Dugtrio here, and that's in prediction of Vaporeon. So this is big. This is like, if there's a full power turn here, it's huge. It's doing 47. Wow. And there is a full power. Okay, this might be SoulWind's path to success here. Can he get another full power, or will the sand damage do it for him? It won't. He's doing 43 now, and Lyco does get the surf off. That's pretty big. We're going to see how SoulWind attempts to retaliate here. He goes to Tar. Presumably Lyco can just go Claydol all day. He doesn't really need to play this one wisely. He goes to Claydol now on the Rock Slide, and he can actually just stay in here presumably and fire off some EQs. It doesn't matter if he goes down or if he gets flinched, because he's got that Dougie in the back. EQs here, he's faster than Tar. It's a CB Tar and he's faster. Okay, is Lyco running a really fast Claydol, or is that a slightly bulky Tar? Either way, Lyco does just take out the Tar here, so there was no need for that Dougie Revenge. This one is looking pretty grim for SoulWind. I don't see an angle to success here. There's not much he can do at this stage. Lyco's going to go Blissey on the Blissey, and it's so SoulWind's reduced now just to Milotic and Blissey. And thing is, Lyco 100% wins the PP stall war, so I think this series is done. I think this is over. That game one, that kind of lucky crit there at the end, that's probably eating at SoulWind right now, because he's got a horrible matchup game 2 and he was a bit unlucky game 1, so I can't imagine he's too pleased at the moment. That being said, I think Lyco ran this team because he knew SoulWind would be running a stall team of sorts, and he's kind of taking advantage of that knowledge. So Lyco's definitely making the He's making the harder reads here team-wise. Because I think Lycomedes' team doesn't do very well against the majority of teams. He's using it specifically for SoulWind, and I think he's getting rewarded for that. What he can do with Blissey now, or with Blissey, is just to stall out the Milotic's recovers here, stall out his moves in general, and that'll really play into his advantage here. SoulWind, I'm trying to look from his eyes as well, trying to step into his shoes here, but there's no real angle to success here. Milo can make this game last a long time, but he can't really win. And again, Lyco can just always go Vaporeon here on the Milo, and if he fires off a Wish here, what he can also do as well is go to Claydol and get that back up to health. So he does Wish. Is Blissey just going to fire off an S-Toss here, or is it going to Soft Boil? I presume Soft Boil is the better play because you could stall out Wishes that way. He's just going to Ice Beam, so is he going to give Vaporeon the health back? That's interesting. I feel like stalling out Wishes would have made more sense. Lyco's just going to go Doug here, and it is going to be able to take out the Blissey. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, there's no angle to victory here. Yeah, SoulWind just forfeits. He realizes that's the end of the game, and indeed it is. Lycomedes has won. Yeah, that was a really interesting team from Lycomedes, man. That's Claydol, Dusclops, Vaporeon on a stall team. You know, that takes some serious balls to run. He's coming up against a pretty standard double trapper from SoulWind. And I think that Lycomedes made the perfect team here, or has the perfect team. He's running a very, very cool anti-stall team. Dusclops is obviously a much better spin blocker than Gar. And Vaporeon for here to pass the Wishes around. I presume that Blissey probably has aromatherapy or something along those lines as well. Claydol is the spike remover. Yeah, it's a perfect anti-stall team, and SoulWind he really felt every bit of it. That was a great series. I really enjoyed it. I hope you all did too. And I'll see you again in the next one.